Good morning, everyone. We'll call the Committee on Commerce and Consumer Protection to order for our 9:30 agenda. We have some very interesting bills on our agenda. Many of them are from the governor's package that he submitted. Our first bill, members, is Senate Bill. Oh, let me just say who all is joining us. Here in the room with me, we have Senator Nishihara, Senator Misalucha. On Zoom, we have Senator Riviere and Senator Favela. So welcome to all. In the event that our technology goes out on us, we have another hearing tomorrow, and if we can't finish it timely today, we will roll everything over to tomorrow at 9:30 in conference room 229, but we expect that we'll be able to go through and finish up our hearing. So just to note that all of the measures and the testimony is on the Capitol website, www.capitol.hawaii.gov. And I think you can watch us, if you're not already watching us, on the Senate YouTube channel. Who knew that we would have a YouTube channel? But we do. And of course, all the testimony and the decisions and everything else is on our website. Okay. With those preliminaries out of the way, let's go to Senate Bill 1096. The first item on our agenda, this is relating to insurance and has to do with public adjusters, motor vehicle rental companies, really updating a number of the portions of Title 24, the Hawaii Revised Statutes, that affect all kinds of insurance. So I believe joining us on Zoom, yes, I see him there, is our Insurance Commissioner, Colin Hayashida. Good morning, Colin.
Good morning, Chair Baker, members of the committee. This is Insurance Commissioner Hayashida for the Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs. You have our written testimony, and we stand in our written testimony supporting this administration bill and requesting an amendment to Section 12 of the bill. Thank you, and we'll be available for any questions. Thank you, Chair Baker.
Okay, thank you, Colin. Next, we have testimony and support from Kaiser Permanente. I don't believe they are joining us today, but members, we have their written testimony. We also have written testimony and support from HMSA and from the National Association of Mutual Insurance Companies called NAMIC. I don't believe there's anybody else on Zoom, and I don't believe we have any other testimony. So members, if you have questions, I would direct you to Colin, our Insurance Commissioner. Any questions? If not, thank you all. We'll go forward to the next measure. And Colin, hang on, because I believe you're testifying on this one as well. This is Senate Bill 1098 relating to the regulatory authority of the Insurance Commissioner. This is also a governor's package bill, and it helps bring some of our statutes into line with some of the model acts. So, Colin, would you please share with us your thoughts on this measure?
Thank you, Chair Baker. This administration bill would basically put us exactly in line with the NAIC Model Producer Licensing Act. We basically diverge in terms of the penalty. In 2001, that penalty was reduced to give the industry time to adjust to the new Model Act. It's since been 20 years, so in order to bring us up to date with the Model Act, we are asking for some amendments to our statute, and this will also help us in terms of doing more online processing of licensing. Thank you, Chair Baker, and we ask for your support in this administration bill.
Thank you. Members, that is the only testimony we have. Anybody have any questions for the Commissioner? If not, we're breezing through our agenda. Our next item is Senate Bill 1100. This is relating to insurance data security. adopts the National Conference of Insurance Commissioners Insurance Data Security Model Law to establish security standards for Hawaii insurance licensees. And we'll go back to the Insurance Commissioner for his testimony. Mr. Hayashida.
Thank you, Chair Baker. The department supports this administration bill. This is a NEIC model data security law. There is some emphasis in trying to get this model passed. If a majority of states do not pass this model, then the states may be subject to federal preemption from anything the Congress passes in regarding this issue. We know there are some concerns, but we are willing to work and discuss those issues with the industry, and we hope we can resolve them. Thank you, Chair Baker.
Okay, thank you. Also joining us on Zoom is Allison Uyoka, Hawaii Insurers Council. Good morning, Allison.
Good morning, Chair Baker, Vice Chair Chang, and members of the committee. Allison Uyoka for Hawaii Insurers Council. We'll stand on our written testimony with comments. Thank you.
Okay. We also have testimony from the American Council of Life Insurers offering some comments, as well as testimony commenting submitted by the National Association of Mutual Insurance Companies. So members, that's all of the testimony that we have on Senate Bill 1100. Do you have any questions for Allison or for Colin? If not, let's go forward to our next bill, Senate Bill 1102. This is relating to mixed martial arts. And this bill would allow mixed martial arts promoters to pay their fighters with cash. It's kind of unusual that we have to have a bill to amend that to happen, but so be it. Let's see. Alani, please pronounce your name for me because I'm always going to mess it up.
It's fine. It's pronounced Kiyoki.
Okay. All right.
Yes. So Alani Kiyoki, Licensing Administrator of the Professional and Vocational Licensing Division, Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs. The department will stand on its written testimony in support, and would just like to point out that this bill will improve the efficiencies of the department by tailoring the requirements of the statutory chapter to the realities of the events of the process. So it'll allow the mixed martial arts promoters to pay the fighters in cash.
Okay.
Yeah.
Members, Alani is the only testifier that we have. Do you have any questions for her? I'm just curious, how many mixed martial arts events do we have in Hawaii, or on average?
Well, I have the executive officer of the program, Alan Taniguchi, who will be able to answer that specific question for you.
Okay, Alan, did you hear the question?
Yes, I did. We started regulating in 2010. We've had anywhere from 10 events all the way up to 30 in 1 year. But since the pandemic last March, we haven't had any events, and I don't see that happening until we reach tier 4, which is the last tier for concerts, large sporting events, etc., for fans to attend. Most local promoters make their money from ticket sales, so there's no way they're gonna put on a show doing it virtual. They're not, only the big, large worldwide promotions would do something like that and still not lose any money.
And my recollection is that the fighters themselves register with the state, or is it just the promoters?
The promoters need to be licensed. The fighters, only pros, need to get a professional MMA contestant license. The amateurs are not required to be licensed, but they still need to do the medical protocols, Hep B and C, HIV, all negative.
So when was the last fight that MMA fight we had in Hawaii?
March of last year.
March of last year.
Chair, I have a question.
Yes.
Just out of curiosity, Alan, so pre-COVID, I would imagine that you would be able to issue them a W-2 as well as remove some of the pertinent taxes. So when you pay cash, are you going to still be able to do that? How are you?
That's, the W-2s are given to me by the promoter, and I just give it to the fighters along with their pay.
So the cash would be after all the taxes have been removed or deducted?
Correct, they don't get paid till after the event.
Okay, so it's more of a process of where you wanted to make it more efficient so they don't have to go to the bank, especially if they may not have banking relationships.
That, and if there's a change to the card, someone gets injured or hurt, doesn't make weight, and they add somebody else, then it's hard. Banks aren't
Alright.
open on Saturday for the promoter to go and reissue another check to somebody, to another fighter. So that way they don't have to wait till the following Monday or Tuesday to get paid.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Senator Nishihara has a question.
Yeah, I have a question. What happens if the promoter doesn't pay the fighter? What's the recourse to the fighter?
The promoter has to give me the checks, so if they don't give me the checks, then the event doesn't happen.
So do we have cases where the event is basically canceled out and determined not to have any impact to the fighters?
Canceled because checks were not given to me, or canceled for some other reason?
Canceled for some other reason.
The only one I can recall is it started pouring rain at a Aloha Tower, and we had to stop the show because the canvas got too slick.
What
But
if
other
there's-
than that,
what if there's a contention that how they scored the fight turns out where the loser of the fight contests the scoring?
there's an appeals process, but again, scoring is by 3 human being judges. It's not software. So again, it can be subjective, which is why we place all 3 judges around the cage so that each one has their own vantage point. And again, that's why I like to tell fighters, don't let it go to the scorecard, end the fight, then there will be no question as to who won. But it's easier said than done.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? If not, members, let's move forward to Senate Bill 1103, relating to Peer Review Oversight Committee. This clarifies the role of the Board of Public Accountancy in selecting members to serve on the board's Peer Review Oversight Committee. This is also part of the governor's package. And joining us on Zoom, representing the Public Accountancy Board, their Executive Officer, Racely? How badly did I mess up your name?
Chair, you do it well every time. Araceli.
Okay. So you want to share your thoughts on this particular measure?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair Baker. Morning, Vice Chair Chang, rest of the committee. Just want to wish everybody a happy Ash Wednesday. The board has submitted its testimony in support of this administration bill, and we just like to note that this bill allows, or it actually creates a flexibility for the board to appoint its peer review oversight committee members. And I'm here to take any questions that the committee might have.
Okay, maybe you can just explain why it's important for the board to be able to do the peer review oversight committee.
Sure. Thank you, Chair. So the request for this change comes about from the idea that the peer review process will become more stringent in the future, as has been reported by the AICPA. With the current setup in the HRS for the peer review oversight committee, the board feels that it becomes more and more difficult to appoint these voluntary members to this peer review oversight committee, which is responsible for overseeing this peer review process that is put it forth by the AICPA. So this just helps them say, I guess this just helps them provide more of a pool of CPAs to appoint to that peer review oversight committee.
Have you ever had difficulty finding volunteers to serve?
In the period that I have overseen the board in the past 2 to 3 years, the board has not had difficulty. We are getting to the point where we will have to appoint a new member because the current members is no longer practicing publicly. So there may be some difficulty, but I don't have experience with that.
Okay, well, hopefully you won't have any difficulties. Members, any other questions on this bill? If not, I believe this brings us to the end of our agenda. So let's take a few minutes break, take a recess, and we'll come back and do some decision-making. Recess. Okay, we'll reconvene the committee for purposes of decision-making, and I'm delighted to note that Senator Chang is on with us this morning as well. He's the committee's vice chair. That's the one difficulty about doing so much remotely. We don't get to see all of our colleagues as often as we would like. Senator Nishihara is going to be taking the vote for us. So on Senate Bill 1096, relating to insurance, amends various portions of Title 24 of the Hawaii Revised Statutes to update and improve existing provisions, governor's package. Everybody was in favor. Chair recommends we pass Senate Bill 1096 with amendments recommended by SMA, those technical amendments, and the amendments recommended by DCCA's Insurance Division. Any questions or comments? If not, chair votes aye.
Vice Chair Chang. Senator Chang.
Aye.
Okay. Senator Misalucha.
Aye.
Senator Nishar goes aye. Senator Revere.
Aye.
Senator San Ventura.
Aye.
Senator Bavella. Aye. Motion is adopted.
Thank you, members. The next item is Senate Bill 1098 relating to the regulatory authority of the Insurance Commissioner. This is also governor's package. Adopt certain provisions of the Model Licensing Act as well as some of the other model acts to make sure that we are consistent with the best processes and best provisions relating to insurance. Chair recommends we pass this measure with amendments. There are some technical, non-substantive amendments recommended by SMA. So, any discussion? If not, recommendation is to pass Senate Bill 98 with amendments. Chair votes aye.
Vice Chair Chang.
Aye.
Senator Misalucha.
Aye.
Nishar goes aye. Senator Revere.
Aye.
Senator San Ventura.
Aye.
Senator Favela. Aye. Motion is adopted.
Thank you, members. The next item is Senate Bill 1100. This is relating to insurance data security, also governor's package. Recommendation is to pass with amendments, some technical, non-substantive amendments from SMA. The amendments requested from the Hawaii Insurers Council as well as ACLI that would note that this is a private cause of action, and the NAMIC amendments working with the Insurance Division to harmonize the Hawaii statutes, and we're going to defect the date, so this will get another scrutiny when it goes over to the House, and if need be, we will go to conference. The defective date is 7/1/2050. Any questions or comments? If not, chair votes aye.
Vice Chair Chang.
Aye.
Senator Misalucha.
Aye.
Nishar goes aye. Senator Revere.
Aye.
Senator San Ventura.
Aye.
Senator Favela. Aye. Motion is adopted.
Thank you, members. The next item is Senate Bill 1102 relating to mixed martial arts, governor's package as well. Recommendation is to pass this measure unamended. Any discussion? Chair votes aye.
Senator Vice Chair Chang,
Aye. Aye.
Senator Misalucha,
Aye.
Nishihara goes aye. Senator Revere,
Aye.
Senator San Ventura,
Aye.
Senator Favela. Aye. Motion's adopted.
Thank you, members. The last item on the 9:30 agenda is Senate Bill 1103 relating to Peer Review Oversight Committee. This is also part of the governor's package. Chair recommends that we pass this measure unamended. Any questions or comments? If not, chair votes aye.
Senator Chang,
Aye.
Senator Misalucha,
Aye.
Nishihara goes aye. Senator Revere,
Aye.
Senator San Ventura,
Aye.
Senator Favela, Senator Favela. Aye. Thank you. Motion's adopted.
Okay, thank you, members. Apologies, we were quicker on this hearing than the chair anticipated. We have another agenda, but it's not slated to start till 10:30, so we're not able to convene until 10:30. So we will adjourn the 9:30, and we'll see you all in 35 minutes. Adjourned. Morning, members. We will call the Committee on Commerce.
Hi, Senator Baker. We just need to do a countdown for you.
Get on it.
Okay, Senator, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning. We'll call to order the Committee on Commerce and Consumer Protection as well as the Committee on Judiciary. For purposes of one measure before us, Senate Bill 1302 relating to tax haven abuse. This would require corporations to include the income of all foreign subsidiaries to the state, applies the state's apportionment formula to determine the share of reported profits subject to the appropriate tax, and would be effective January 1, 2022. Let's see. We have the Director of the Department of Taxation or his representative joining us by Zoom.
Thank you, Chair. We offered comments, and I'd just like to call your attention to our second page. If you look at the second and third paragraph of the second page, this particular formula could result in a loss instead of a gain. And that's something that we should look into. Other than that, I'll be available for any questions you may have. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thanks, Isaac. Let's see. We have the Tax Foundation of Hawaii, Mr. Tom Yamachika, joining us on Zoom. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Chair Baker, members of the committees. Tom Yamachika from the Tax Foundation of Hawaii. The first thing we wanted to point out is that if the genuine aim of this bill is to adopt worldwide combined reporting, the substance of the bill doesn't do that. Even DOTax in its testimony has recognized this, and there are various, I believe, severe technical problems with the bill that are mentioned in our testimony. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. We have also joining us on Zoom, Will Karen, Young Professionals Demanding Action. Will, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Aloha, Chair. Aloha, members of the committee. I'm Will Carone with Young Progressives Demanding Action. Thank you for having us this morning. I will stand on our testimony in support, and thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Also joining us on Zoom is Nicole Wu, Hawaii Children's Action Network speaks.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committees. Thank you for this opportunity to testify. I am Nicole Wu with Hawaii Children's Action Network speaks. I also will stand on our testimony in support of this bill.
Okay. Also joining us on Zoom is Erica Kenny, Council on State Taxation. Erica?
Good morning, chairs and community members. My name is Erica Kenny, and I am the Western States Tax Council for the Council on State Taxation. We are a nonprofit trade organization with the objective of preserving and promoting equitable and non-discriminatory state and local taxation of multi-state business entities. I appreciate the opportunity to comment on this bill today. We also submitted written testimony and stand on that testimony in opposition to Senate Bill 1302. This bill would effectively impose a taxation on worldwide income of corporate taxpayers. I did want to point out that no other state or U.S. country in the world currently utilizes mandatory worldwide combined reporting, and Hawaii should reject this approach as well. I also note that the projected revenue impact extrapolated for the state of Hawaii is particularly imprecise and is derived from recent global econometric studies attempting to quantify global profit shifting. Some important history on this is that states have backed off of worldwide combined reporting back in the 1980s when foreign governments threatened retaliatory taxation in response to state worldwide unitary reporting regimes. States have also rejected the worldwide combined reporting approach because of the inequities and embedded complexities. These include the potential for double taxation of foreign source income, the complexities of determining which foreign affiliates are unitary, and the accounting difficulties resulting from different exchange rates. Hawaii's existing water's edge filing regime is consistent with the regimes adopted by other combined reporting states, and there is no need for adopting a different approach. Hawaii's provisions serve not only a practical limitation on combined reporting that reduces the incidence of double taxation and economic distortion, but it also keeps the state within conventional norms of business taxation. Mandatory worldwide combined filing is contrary to the approach of taxing corporate profits currently employed by all other states and nations with corporate income taxes. Its adoption would place Hawaii at a significant competitive disadvantage among states and would send a warning flag to multinational businesses that the state is not a friendly environment for business expansion and relocation. We respectfully urge this committee to reject Senate Bill 1302. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you very much. We have, none of these testifiers are on Zoom, but they did submit written testimony in support. Planned Parenthood Votes Northwest in Hawaii, Pono Hawaii Initiative, Hawaii Health and Harm Reduction Center, HSTA, also in support Americans for Democratic Action, Democratic Party of Hawaii Education Caucus, Emua Alliance, Hawaii Appleseed Center for Law and Economic Justice, Raylene Reno Yeomans, Patricia Blair, Sunny Savage, Judith Perino, Sherry Pollock, Thomas Brandt, Valerie Weiss, Shannon Rudolph, Elaine Winder, Janice Palma Glennie, Christy McPherson, Joan Gannon, Michael Fenton Stover, Forrest Frizzell, Barbara George, Michael Diaza, sorry if I butchered that name, Meredith Buck, Maki Morinoi, Stacy Burke, Setsuko Morinoi, Alani Bagal, Sanche Hodges, Kali'i Ho, Aaron McDonald, and late testimony from Nanea Lowe and Julia Paul. Members, that's all the testimony that we have. Are there any questions for any of the folks that happen to be on the Zoom?
I have a question.
Yes.
For the tax director?
Uh-huh. Is DOTAX still on the call?
Yep, good morning.
Okay.
Mr. Choi, good morning.
Go ahead.
You mentioned in your testimony that there's a potential for loss reporting. You know, I mean, do you, so I understand you're reading into the potential outcomes of this measure as is your job, but can you read a little more in? Is there some sort of incentive or disincentive that possibility provides?
Okay, so if I could just take a little time and explain to you how this thing would work. So right now we do have water's edge apportionment, which is pretty good right now. Okay, but let me just start from the beginning. you got this thing called adjusted federal income, net income, okay? And when you apportion something, you throw in a factor towards that number, that federal adjusted net income, okay? A factor is a fraction. It has a top number and a bottom number, okay? The top number is the business done in Hawaii, okay? That's gonna remain the same, okay? The bottom number right now, we do water's edge, okay? So in other words, whatever's in the United States. You guys are, on this particular bill, right? We're gonna take that bottom number and make it worldwide, right? So we're gonna leave the top number the same, and we're gonna put the bottom number bigger, which means it's a smaller fraction.
If what I'm reading into your comments indicates, you're saying there's a possibility that by doing so, companies that locate here could take losses based off of the enumeration of the denominator.
Right, and then remember.
But I mean, like, what are the I guess between you and Tom Yamachika, what I'm trying to understand is the actual implication. I find it highly unlikely that some multinational is going to come in here and soak Hawaii for losses, unless you're saying that's actually a possibility. In which case, this is. I'm wondering whether this is actually a corporate recruitment strategy as opposed to the intended outcome.
Well, like I said, right, as you apply this factor to a possible bigger number or smaller number from an international source that we may or may not be able to chase or get the correct numbers, we'll end up with a small number. So the fraction itself, right, the top number remains the same, the bottom gets bigger, the fraction is smaller, we apply it to some number instead of water's edge international, which we have absolutely no control of, right? Because we don't know if they're going to give us the correct numbers or how we're going to chase those numbers down, right? And then we apply that fraction to that particular number, it could end up lower.
Right, I guess what I'm asking, and maybe you can't answer, and maybe Tom can't answer either, so I'll stop after asking it, is what type of company would actually utilize that strategy?
Senator, there was a long time ago, there was I think a 60-minute show on transfer pricing to IBM. I would think big companies like that would use that.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Okay. Any other questions? The chair would just like to note that we believe that we have a title problem, and even if the bill were perfect and wonderful, I don't believe we could pass it because of the title issue. What's in the substance of the bill doesn't match the title. Any other questions? Let's take a brief reset.
Sorry, Chair
Go
Baker,
ahead.
I did have one further question for Ms. Kinney.
Okay.
So, if you're still here.
Ms. Kinney, are you still there? Okay, go ahead, Senator Rhodes.
One of the things you said would happen if we were to pass this bill, if this bill were to pass, is that multinationals would probably avoid coming to do business in Hawaii. I guess the question in my mind is that a bad thing for Hawaii? It's not real clear to me. I think it's fair to say that there's a lot of people in Hawaii who don't see the role of outside corporations as being particularly positive.
Respectfully, Senator, and I appreciate your comment. Thank you for asking it. I'm providing the information on sort of the impacts of how worldwide combined reporting impacts business climate. And while it may not be that you want large corporations within the state, it still also impacts goods and services that do come into your state that benefit your residents. So that's just one of the factors that we look at in terms of overall business climate and how that translates to the ability and the want to do business there, because worldwide combined reporting would, as I mentioned in my testimony, would make Hawaii an outlier. There's no state that requires mandatory worldwide combined reporting at this current time. And to just touch on the prior question, and the impacts that that would have to the to businesses and how they would operate. There's not a whole lot of visibility in terms of what various corporations, whether they would ultimately have a worldwide loss or worldwide on a worldwide basis or a profit. So that's something that's very difficult to ascertain or predict.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any other questions? If not, let's take a brief recess so we can confer, since this is referred to both CPN and Judiciary jointly. Let's take a brief recess.
One.
Okay, thank you. Members, we are reconvening. We are coming from recess and reconvening. We have a number of members on the call, and the two chairs, I believe, are in agreement that the measure has title issues and other matters that need to be more thoroughly vetted. So for this particular legislative session, the chairs are recommending that we defer this matter indefinitely. Any questions, comments, concerns? It has some interesting ideas but cannot be pursued at this time. If no other issues, the joint committees will be adjourned.